Hey there, everybody! Welcome into this edition of Extra Time here in the ESPN FC studios. Stevie and Seb alongside Frank and Jules.
Never gets any better than that, does it?
Somehow it only gets more hacky. Yeah, you're right.
That's annoying.
That's okay. Well, thank you for sharing your true feelings about it on air and in public
You're
for
welcome.
everybody. Mitch has a question for you, Stevie. Happy belated birthday. Of course, we know we were celebrating your birthday, when was it, last week?
Yep, thanks, Mitch.
Very exciting times. I watch every day, sometimes with my daughter, whose birthday was also last week. You're her favorite because you have the, quote, funniest accent. Now I have a 5-year-old Texan girl answering I to all my questions.
Brilliant.
That's great. That's brilliant.
Do you know, it's not unusual that my daughter is exactly the same. My daughter was born in England, spoke with an English accent when she was in England. We come to America, she goes to school.
How old was she when you guys came to America?
12.
Okay.
And when she's speaking with anybody else, she's got an American accent.
But you...
And always replies I.
In an American accent?
In an American
That must be
accent.
so confusing for people.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Our friends look at her like...
I think I've told this story before, but when you and I started working together, I was not familiar with I as kind of part of the Scottish dialect, and I thought you just had trouble finishing your thoughts. I thought you were
stutter.
I thought you just got lost. You'll get around to it eventually. All right, Jacob asks, for all, what is one club you would never play for? I think I know Stevie's. So Frank, I'll start with you. One club you would never play for.
Manchester United, I would say. At the time that I played for Chelsea, they were very successful, and we hated them so much that it came into my mind that I could never be friends with any of the players that played for that team. And in fact, after when I met some of them. David Beckham in LA, for example, they were all good dudes and no problems, But it's true that I kept in my mind that Manchester United wasn't the club that I could love, but because of their success, and that I would never play for them. That's what I felt at the time. I mean, that's a stupid reaction, but that's what I felt. But I don't have any club that I would never play for. I was born in Marseille. And I almost signed for Paris Saint-Germain when I was 20. So I'm not a fan. I was a football player. I was professional, and I was ready to go for any big clubs.
How about that name drop there from Frank, huh? David Beckham, out in LA, hanging out. Did you miss that? Were you not paying attention?
I didn't particularly think it was particularly great. Clearly, you got a bit carried away. Do you need a drink?
Manchester United would be yours, correct?
You're not getting hot flushes thinking about the name, are you?
No, not yet.
Clearly
not
you
yet.
are.
It is Man United, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
Anybody else on that list? Like, would Everton be on that list? Or is it just, okay.
Man United, Celtic. But you got to realise when Frank, even though Frank was just after my era, we were frowned upon if we spoke to the opposition before the game.
Right.
Never mind be friends with them. I mean, if Ronnie Moran saw you in the tunnel, all chatty and all smiley with Gordon Strachan at Man United, he wouldn't be happy at all. In fact, Dalglish came to me once and said, "What were you talking to him?" Because I spoke to him actually. For some reason, we both came off the field at the same time, myself and Gordon, and we spoke. Right. Now I shared the room with Gordon with Scotland, and I knew him, but as soon as I got into the dressing room, Dalglish, who must have seen me, said, "What were you talking about?" Like as if I was going to...
Trade secrets.
As if I was a double agent or something. I was going to say something. I mean, that's how bad it was. So the coaching staff didn't want you having anything to do with them either.
Frank?
Sebi, I understand why Stevie didn't want to play for Manchester United, but why Chelsea, Stevie? What's wrong with Chelsea?
No, I said Celtic. So I'm a Rangers fan.
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard Chelsea. I said, why Chelsea? Well, okay, and I hear.
No,
I hear you.
Okay, my teeth were. But...
No. It's just your accent. I love it too, but sometimes it's hard.
For the boys, of the teams vying for the top 4 in the Premier League, which one is in need of a player in the January transfer window to contend, and who is that player? Juls, let's start with you on this one. Of the teams vying for the top 4 in the Prem, which one is in need of a player in the January window, and who is that player?
So, from the current top 4, you mean? I think Aston Villa, if they want to stay up there, they will need a bit of investment in January. I think they know that already. I think they're looking around already. If something was to happen to Ollie Watkins, for example, there would be really nobody to be able to replace him and score that goals. You could think about maybe some cover for John McGinn or even a Boubacar Kamara. So I think right now, maybe even a centre-back after the Mings injury at the start of the season. So really on that top 4, if Aston Villa wants to stay and be in contention for as long as possible with the other big 3, then I think I would pick them to invest a bit of money to strengthen that squad.
I don't think the question necessarily limits it to teams that are currently in the top 4, right? Just teams vying for the top 4. So if we open it up a little bit more, Stevie, who would you say needs the move the most?
I think if Tottenham could get a proper goal scorer, because they create, there's no question, between now and the end of the season, they're going to create chances. And unfortunately, okay, Richarlison scored today, scored last week as well, but he's a guy who doesn't score a lot of goals. And so when you've got a guy playing centre forward who scores probably, 1 in 3, maybe 4, that could cost you, particularly when you play so open, because they're going to lose goals. Unless the goalie stands in his head every week, they're going to lose goals, but with the chances they create, if they had a real goal scorer, I think that would be enough for them to get in the top 4.
Frank, we got to vote for Spurs, who need to make a move in January. We got to vote for Villa, that need to make a move. Who do you think needs to make a move in January?
Well, for me, it's obvious that Newcastle, if they want to keep on believing that they can catch the first 4, they have to buy some players because they have so much injuries. And I don't know where they have to find. Maybe they have to find more than one, because I don't know when the players are going to come back. But maybe definitely in the middle of the park, where it's the 3, they're doing great. I'm talking about Joelinton, for example, or Guimaraes. I think at some point they're going to get tired, so they need some other players to step on. But I just want to say something about Tottenham and what Stevie said. Can you believe that they had the best maybe striker in the world last season, and they sold him? Maybe they should buy him to score more goals this season. That's crazy.
Hey, can I ask Jules and Frank a question? So I had an argument the other day with Dan and Shaka, right? And Dan and Shaka basically said that Newcastle have regressed, right? And my argument was that is complete and utter nonsense, because they've got a full team injured. They've got 13 injuries. So, Frankie and Jules, what side of the fence are you with me, or are you with those two?
Frank, you first.
Because I think it's unfair to judge a team who has 13 injuries.
We're also only
and who
halfway
has to play the same players for 10 straight games in a row, Champions League and in the Premier League, and then try and turn around and say that they're regressing.
Yeah. Frank?
No, the thing is, last time I was on the show with Craig, I found Craig pretty harsh on Newcastle for exactly the same reason. I think you have to take into account that they have so many players injured that they did pretty well, especially in the Champions League, and they almost surprised everybody. For me, after the amount of players that they were missing, there are no chance for me to go far and to be good in the Premier League and to go through in the Champions League or even go to Europa League. It's so unfair to criticize them at that point, because they do what they can, and we can feel that the players are still the same and they're playing and they're getting tired. So I'm with you, Stevie, 100%.
Jules, what do you think? Has Newcastle regressed?
No, I'm with Stevie as well. I think it's quite harsh to say right now in December that they've regressed compared to last season. Last season they had finished 11th. The season before they had almost no real pressure. They had no European competition. This time they had to play the Champions League in what we said was a tough group, plus the league, plus all the injuries, plus the Tonali suspension. It has been, if you think about it, between September, let's say, and today, it's been an incredible 3 months for them. So I think it's really harsh and pretty unfair to say that they've regressed.
That settle it for you?
No,
Yeah.
Magic.
James asks, how much does a howler by the goalie affect a team's psyche? Boy, we saw one from Matt Turner today, didn't we? It was like a double howler.
Do you know, when it happens once in a blue moon, it probably affects the coach more than it affects the team. Because on the field of play, we're all pretty forgiving. We all understand that we're all a mistake away from causing a goal, so we get it. But when you're sitting on the sideline, your goalie's throwing one in. You're like,
it's a position you'd like to have trust in. You'd like to feel good about.
Yeah.
Frank, what do you think? How much can a howler affect the rest of the team?
Well, hopefully never, because it's what he has to be, and we have to accept mistakes from the others. You know, a striker who misses an easy goal, myself missing a penalty, or myself missing a tackle, and the guy goes to score. And we know how much risky it is to be a goalkeeper. You cannot afford any mistakes. So I would have had a teammate hammering or putting his head down because the goalkeeper would have made a mistake. I would have been very upset. And that's not the way I see football. You have to accept mistakes from the others. We win at 11 and we lose at 11.
Love it. Put it on a t-shirt. What is the best... I love this one. What is the best criticism a manager has ever given you and the best compliment? You ever remember a criticism or a compliment?
Do you know... I've got one that answers both.
Okay, love it.
I remember playing a game at Anfield. I remember the situation. And I hadn't had a very good game. But it was one of those games where the ball was like a magnet. It kept coming to me. And I didn't always... on too many occasions, I didn't use it well enough or correctly, or I made a mistake. And Dalglish came up to me after the game and said, you know what? He said, it wasn't the best game you've ever had. He said, I'll tell you what though, but you never hid. And that was, to a footballer, the one thing you can't ever do when things are not going your way is not be available for the ball.
Right.
Because there's a lot of players do that. They'll hide. We call it hiding in a game.
When you're not checking two, when you're not
you
don't want any part of it.
You make sure you're not available to get the ball. And so that was kind of both. It was a criticism that I'd not played my best, but it was also a compliment that I had tried to fight through it and I didn't go and hide.
Yeah.
That's huge for a footballer.
It's a good one. Frank, any criticism or compliment that you remember from your playing career?
I will go with Stevie, where a criticism became a compliment because of what I wanted from the coach. I had Gilbert Gress, and we became friends lately. I would say last year, and we talk to each other, and I sometimes call him, and I love his humor. But I remember him telling me that I was stupid and I would never achieve anything, and I took it as a criticism. He helped me very much to achieve something and to work very hard. So it became a compliment for me. And because it's exactly what I wanted him to think about me. That I wanted him to think that I was that stupid to not follow him. Because I didn't want to follow him. I knew what he was capable of and able to give me. And that's exactly what I was looking for from him. So that comment, "You're stupid, you will never achieve anything," has been a criticism, but also a compliment for me.
He's a journo now, but in the past, Juls was quite a player. Juls, you got any compliments?
When was the last time you saw him playing?
I played with him in Qatar at the World Cup.
Oh, right,
we played some pickup games together. Juls and I actually still unbeaten.
So that's he's criticising you because he said you used to be a good player. So if he played with you in Qatar, are you saying he didn't?
No, he's still brilliant. Still a brilliant player.
Right,
aside from my compliments, Juls, any
I'm just
compliments
older, Stevie, now.
that a real manager gave
I'm
you?
just older now, Yeah, I mean, not to the level of the boys, obviously. Not to the level of the boys, because it's not the same context. Even if you're playing like in a much lower league, I've just been fascinated though by coaches who had something very special in terms of man management. I think we all had coaches that, even at my very modest level or decent level, coaches who were just not very good in terms of engaging with some players. And on the other hand, I think you've got others who are just born for that. They have that kind of relationship. You would be ready to do anything for them. And I think those have always fascinated me. I was lucky when I played for Le Lila in the 4th division in France when I was really young to have a guy like that called Bruno Coton, who was just amazing in that kind of man or coach to player relationship. And for him, you would do anything. And we learned so much. Those 2 years was incredible.
That's the kind of manager I imagine you to be, Stevie. A man-to-man kind of guy.
Grr.
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 Get right into those conversations. This question is for Stevie. Exactly. Stevie, Sebi, do you think Everton might have won the Champions League in the 80s if it wasn't for the ban on English teams?
Wow.
And who were their best players in that era?
Well, the answer to that is yes.
You think they would have?
They could have.
Yeah.
I mean, you can never say they would have, but were they at that level? Absolutely. I mean, they had a goalkeeper who at one time was the best in the world. They had a captain in Kevin Ratcliffe who had pace and could read the game. They had players like Andy Gray, Graham Sharp up front, Gary Lineker. They were tough in the middle of the park with Bracewell and Reid. Defensively, no prisoners. I mean, yeah, the answer to that would be yes. They would absolutely have competed in the Champions League as far as getting to the latter stages and maybe winning it.
Very complimentary for your Liverpool ways. The Norwegian Racing Fish asks, for a start, bench, drop, here are your options.
No.
Juls kits that we see on the Gavin Jules show. Archie's colorful coats that we see sometimes on our Bundesliga pre-games.
Oh my
or
God.
Stevie's reflective jacket, which we know is all the rage in the outdoor genre of fashion right now. Yes. So Stevie, you go first. What do you?
Well, Archie's colourful jumpers, coats, you name it. I just like.
Oh my God! Yeah.
You always think, is that the only thing he's got in his drawer? He's got no choice.
You know what though? The managers in the Bundesliga, they love it. They always talk about it. They always have like some fun interactions.
And do you know why? Because the managers, some of the gear the managers wears is a joke.
I'm sorry, you are going to talk fashion now?
Hold up. Exactly. That's how bad it is. And Archie takes the pressure off them with his gear.
Right.
That's why they love it. No, Archie's definitely the bottom of the pile.
Okay, Frank, you're the neutral here. Give me your start, bench, drop.
Okay, I have a question is it from the worst to the best or the best to the worst?
The one you like the most is start, so we'll go best to worst.
Okay, I go from Jules' kit. I love his kind of regenerated thoughts about what I was seeing and in terms of shirts that you want to wear and everything. So thank you, Jules. It's very nice. I love it. Then I go for Stevie because the reflective jacket is safety, is safetiness, and Stevie is clever. And Archie is an English guy who decided to adopt a German kind of culture of wearing stupid things who only you only can see in Germany, you know. So it's horrible. I don't understand, and you shouldn't wear that on TV, you know, because you can blind people with those kind of stuff.
Jules, what's the story with your kits? Because they are impressive. You really do have a great mix.
Yeah, you don't know what's coming, do you?
No, and a retro, like always cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, because we do the show with Gab twice a week, it came to a time where I was like, okay, well, am I going to wear the same jumper like Gab does? Gab always wears the same things, pretty much. So I tried to think about something different, you know.
Even when it's got gravy on it.
Is he washing it?
Yeah.
Is he washing it or? Oh, thank you.
I'm not sure, Frankie. I'm not sure.
That's why they sit so far apart, Frank.
Exactly. And there's this shop in London and there's one in Manchester called Classic Football Shop who have a lot of vintage shop, and we've known each other for quite a while, and I said to them, listen, I had an idea, let me know if it's possible, but could I come and and borrow some shirt. And I borrow shirts. Some I keep, some I give back, of course. And I said to them, it's good publicity for you. For me, it's great. Old kids or current kids, whatever kid to wear. People like those kind of stuff. It's really, it's a good vibe at the moment. So they say, yeah, that's great. It works for us. So yeah, I go often with the kids because the kids love being there and picking some of the shirts. And we pick 8 or 10 at one time for all the shows. And then I bring some back, I keep some, and then we go again, etc., etc. So I don't have all the shirts in my house because I would not wear them all the time either. But some of the PSG ones, I'll be special. Some of the France ones as well. But yeah, it's been great, and I think a lot of people, like Frankie said, are enjoying it because when they were growing up, maybe they used to be those kids or those teams play with the kids, things like that. So it's a pretty cool thing.
I would spend a lot of time and a lot of money in a shop like that. I'll tell you what, if they let me
You would
loose,
love it, Sebi.
I would love it. I would love it. I've seen some of the kits. Next time I'm over there, I'm definitely doing some shopping. All right, last one here for Juls. I hope I didn't do this today. Does it bother you when your colleagues tweet your name for questions on ESPN FC Extra Time and misspell it? So let's just be clear. What is the correct spelling here of Juls?
So you mean my ex handle?
No, like the nickname, I think is the debate here, because everyone knows how to spell Julian, but it's between Jules, which I spell Jules, and maybe it's Juls.
I see.
So what is correct here?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, it's both are fine, I think, because that nickname came to me when I moved here. In France, like Frankie would know, Julien is called more Juju or just Jules or sometimes even Jules. But Jules came here when I moved over here. People, when I play football, started calling me like that. So myself, I've got no idea how you spell it. Sometimes with an L-E-S, sometimes just L-S. So it could be anything.
Juju, I like that one.
Me, I call him. Juju is nice, but it's like, well, I don't like it. But I call him Ju. Ju.
Yeah, Ju is Frankie's. Yeah.
Frank, what do we call your cat other than extremely irritated? What's happening back there?
Does he stand on it?
My cat?
Yeah, we can hear them.
Oh yeah, no, he wants to eat, and now I just want to tell you that he just pooped. So I'm very happy. He's just next to me, so I'm very, very happy right now. I just wish that the show is ending very quickly, that I can get away from here. It's called Lemon, and the other one is called Miami, because I have two. Miami, we found it in Miami, and Lemon, we found it in Paris. So we have two cats.
Only
Lemon
on Extra
Miami.
Time.
Yeah.
Only on Extra Time. Somebody bookmark that for the end of year Extra Time reel when Frank's cat pooped during this segment. All right, there he is, Frank Lalouf. Thanks to Julian Laurent as well. Thanks to Steve Nicol, and thanks to you guys for sending in your